welcome, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Pooh. Hey, welcome to another episode of Journey from Infertility. It's Lindsay. I have one of my good friends. I call her my common law wife. One of my best friends for over 20 years. This is my friend, my sister, Jessica. What's happening?
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing. So I wanted to bring you on today because I kind of wanted to discuss our uh pretty much like and how it kind of affects friendships with people. So of course I've been Googling and every article and thing that I've come across has been like negative, and I was like, I don't really get that connotation with my circle, like with you, with Sierra. I didn't really have that problem. Like people who I wasn't really close with, I those kind of fell to the wayside. But with y'all, I don't really feel like that. So I wanted to kind of just get into it with you. I'm gonna read this one little portion of one that I found on healthline.com. So it says about infertility and friendship. So if you're in your prime childbearing years, you're probably surrounded by others in a similar season of life. That means Facebook feeds littered with baby bumps and blue and pink balloons. And then when you're struggling with infertility, it feels like every person you see in the grocery store, the dog park, or pushing a stroller, or they're rocking a baby bump. So this illusion becomes a reality when your best friends start sharing their pregnancy news. And this is something that we experienced with my little chunky monkey. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So while you want to shower your best friend with gifts like adorable onesies and accept honors like godparents to their child, you might feel comfortable seeing you might not feel comfortable seeing them. You might not even feel like you want to speak to them in an effort to manage your disappointment. And it's not the disappointment that's in you, it's more the disappointment in myself. So if they know about your family's baby making struggles, which you did, your friends may try to avoid making you feel bad by distancing themselves from you, but you didn't do that. Thank goodness. And meanwhile, if you're able to muster up the energy to put a smile on your face when you say, I'm so happy for you, your action might come across as awkward or fake. None of that, because I love kids and I wanted them. So I think embracing everybody else's kids helped me get through it.
Definitely.
So with that, am I one of your first friends that you've had to deal with infertility issues with, or is this something that you've come across before with other people? Like, how did that kind of affect, or even how did that make you feel with your relationship towards me?
I gotta be honest, you were my only and actual closest friend that I knew that was experiencing infertility issues. And, you know, it hurt just to even, hear that my friend was experiencing that type of pain. And then it would hurt me just because of the type of friend that I am to know that I couldn't fix it. I know at one point we were making offerings, talking about even trading eggs. I was just willing to go to that extent.
True.
I was just willing to go to that
True.
extent because I was just like, I didn't see it as a missing component. I just saw it as something, what can I help my friend to do? So with that, it didn't distance me from you. It actually pulled me closer to you. Not in a smothering type of way or in a clingy type of way that it made it feel like, oh, I need to be there. But it was just understanding my role and the way in which I support you. So I felt like, however I can support is the way that I'm going to support. And when you are supporting someone, you have to support them in a way that also makes them feel comfortable and not just yourself feel comfortable. Because I think a lot of time when people rush in to comfort their friends, they're actually not even comforting their friend for their friend's pain. They're comforting their friend for themselves just so they won't feel guilty. So you actually have to ask your friend, how can I support you? And a lot of the time from us, or from me rather, you required me being there, not being away. And then when it came to actually telling you I was pregnant, there was some fear there, just because of like, we shared this situation. Not necessarily as in I went through it as well, but I shoulder it with you because I know that that's your pain. So I hesitated for a second, but at the same time, I knew you would be more angry with me if I did not tell you. So when it came to stuff like that, I knew I had to tell you, regardless of, I understood your pain, but I felt like it would have been selfish on my behalf if I didn't say that, just because I'm trying not to hurt or anything like that. I felt like, that would have hurt you more if I'd have done that. So it actually didn't distance me from you at any point. It actually brought me closer to you.
Wow, you just knocked out all my questions like in one in one full swoop, because that was gonna be my next question. Like, did you hesitate, or how did that make you feel at first, knowing that that was what I had went through? Like, you literally just knocked it out. Why? I didn't even tell you what I was gonna ask you. You just really knocked it out. So it's pretty much like, I just, what would be some tips that you would still offer, outside of just being there for me at that time? So what other tips would you offer for people who are trying to be there for somebody but don't really want to, I don't want to say tiptoe around the subject, but what do you feel like would be helpful in regards to being there for a friend, or being there for anybody, period?
When it comes to being there for anybody, period, I think you always have to be mindful, one, of the space that you occupy, and try and see your friend's pain or that other person's pain from their eyes, and then to think before you speak. And then, because sometimes you have to ask, is my support necessary? Not saying that it's not, but, does this person have so much on their plate, or are they being, supported so much that if I support them, will it at that point become overwhelming to them? So you have to ask, when you're trying to support someone, where are you? And be honest with me about where you are, because that's the only way I can know how to even handle a situation like that. Um, when you tell a person, hey, I'm not okay today because I'm going through this, then that person understands that, you know, it's a way in which to handle people when they're going through something, and you just have to be understanding to that. So that would be my tip, as far as, dealing with infertility, or going through, just dealing with a friend that's going through a tough time. I would just say, if you know your friend, like you know your friend, or like you think you know your friend, a lot of the time, back off, check in, and then that friend is going to give you what you need in order to give them, because it's not necessarily something that you can save them from, or even sometimes they may not even want your advice. Sometimes the friend just may want you to listen while they vent, and sometimes they have to talk out loud so they can figure it out themselves, and they just have to talk outside of themselves so they can figure it out themselves, and they may not even necessarily need you to even speak, and you have to be okay with that. In the role of support, if it's not you going through what you're going through, in the role of support, you have to be okay with however that person is asking you to support. So that would be my tip.
Big facts. Appreciate that.
you
Really, really do. With like, even with the grieving process, because of course, with all the miscarriages and things that I had going on, how did your own personal grief in this situation, how did that affect you in that space with me?
um I knew to make clear a lot of the time that I did not understand um, I did not understand the level of grief. Um, and just as a friend, it would kind of be, it would leave a question mark over my head and leave me a little hurt, just because I didn't understand how to actually shoulder that grief with someone without feeling guilt. Because I think in some situations, when it comes down to that, we're feeling so guilty that we just back away, and that's not what I wanted to do. So
Awesome.
when it came down to you grieving, it was just, I really had to be a rock. Whether you wanted to sit there and cry, sit there and talk, sit there and just look, I really had to be a rock. And it's not to say that I didn't have emotions too, but we really have to focus on not being so selfish in certain moments like that. So I really had to be a rock and just allow you to be yourself, go through your actual grieving process. Um, I had to even go through the points of you asking yourself, like, sis, like, it brings me to tears sometimes because I remember these conversations, but it would be like, sis, why not me? And I understood that for a while, because I would be like, well, why not her? I think she's a great person, to even bear children. I think she'd be a wonderful mom. So a long time I shared that question with you. So that was a part of the grieving process. And then even understanding, just like sometimes, that there are some questions that you can't have answered right then and there. You just have to kind of trust the process.
Hmm.
And that's the process of grieving as well.
Oh, don't cry. Don't cry, because you're going to make me cry.
Oh, we're in a happy space. Those are happy tears. So we're good.
I know. So even now, just, going through this, this journey with me, like, what did it feel like for you when I finally told you again that I'm pregnant? And, this, I really wish it was like we could walk through the day, the days of me, sending you a text message, and I'm like, hey man, listen, we got a problem. A big problem. It's not even really a problem, but what was that initial reaction for you, for me to tell you, like, after so long, again, I'm pregnant? Like, was there, because I know what it was on my end, but what was it for you to hear me or see me? Because it was really, I don't even remember if I called you or text you or if it was both. I don't know what I did first, but to even just see and hear me say, like, hey, I got something to tell you. I don't know if
So,
you're sitting down, like, but I'm pregnant. Like, what was that like for you?
with Malulu, with Lauren, I'll never forget that day, because me and you was just talking about it, and I was just like, well, I've had a dream that somebody in my circle is pregnant, and I don't know who it is, but I know somebody is pregnant, and it
I
came,
remember saying, "Oh, it definitely ain't me."
and I was like, nah. I had ended up having that dream again, and I was like, well, no, somebody's pregnant, and it's not me, because being friends for so long, we had this synced up. And if anyone know what I mean, they know what I mean. We had this synced up, and I'm like, well, I got mine, and you like, okay, well, mine do soon. I'm like, yeah, okay, you think that, and I will never forget the text message, like, bruh, this guy playing. And when I say this guy, I'm talking about your menstrual. This. This guy ain't showed up yet. What's up? So like me in the back of my mind and on the other side of my screen, I'm jumping for joy because I'm like, yes, this means my dream may have come true, you know. But then my second emotion was worry because I was worried for you and what you may think. But when we finally got the confirmation that everything was true, I was just like, oh yeah, you know, electric slide, we all up and through there. But and then with Aaliyah, like Aaliyah was the spoken baby. She was truly a spoken, she was the spoken golden baby from almost like day one. And I'll never forget even just going through that process, just talking with you about like, Lindsay, you know, you bought a new house. I was like, Lindsay, there is space in that house. And I was like, I want you to understand that you're gonna have to fill that house now. And me and you talked about that for months. And he was like, well, no, sis. And I was like, yes, I'm telling you, it's you're gonna have another baby. We were getting into that conversation before you had even actually found out you were pregnant. Actually, this is months before that. And I was like, nah, sis, I know.
On top of the fact, just not even to interrupt you, I was going through my phone the other day and it so happened to look, you know, those little stupid Facebook games said what's coming for you in 2019. And it literally said a new baby. And I said, I know you lying. And just thinking about it the other day, I looked at the date on it and it was like,
It had been
I
like
think it had to
November,
be,
December.
it was like either November, beginning of December, and that was literally around the time we had just started looking for the house. And I was like, this is not funny. Like, that's not funny. This is not what we're playing. Like, I wasn't, like, of course, we're not preventing, but wasn't expecting it because once again, I had believed someone to tell me that I would not have kids, nor did I really think, okay, well, you know, just after that one, you know, imaginary birth control is going to stop a baby from coming again. No.
Right.
And had no clue that I was even pregnant or even in the process of being pregnant. So the whole new baby thing was not expected. Not something I looked, not even gonna say look forward to, but it wasn't on my 5-year plan of of life at the moment. Because like Lauren was already not a plan, so another baby.
And then not only that, like the everything that makes me laugh about Aaliyah is literally everything about her. She is the watcher. She's the golden baby before we even knew like that's the actual
That's the actual
term.
term.
Yes. I was always calling her my golden baby. That's my golden baby. That's my golden baby. And you know, when you sent me that and you was just like, bruh, that's the actual term. And I was like, I never knew that because again, you know, I never experienced that side of, you know, going through anything like that. So I did not know the proper terms for, you know, children after miscarriages and um having another child after your rainbow baby. So
Yeah. So so just for those who do not know, a rainbow baby is a baby that's born after a pregnancy loss. So that could be either from a miscarriage, it could be from a stillborn or anything like that. So Lauren was my rainbow baby. And then the golden baby is the baby that's born after the rainbow baby. So the golden baby is like the pot of gold after the rainbow or at the end of the rainbow. And so it's just, again, that was not even something that we knew until probably halfway down the line, almost up close up until I was about to deliver. We were like, wait, what?
yep, yep. So for me, like I got hit with a double whammy last year because it was just
Yeah.
I got so I got to experience a different side of like a lot of my friends and you know a lot of y'all were becoming mothers for the first, second, or maybe third time, and it was just really exciting to see you know my friend have her joy and be joyous in something that she has wanted, something that she has prayed for, something that her and God have had intimate talks about repeatedly. So to even see that and to see my friend have what she's always wanted, or the things that she never thought that she would have, that blesses me in happiness, and that makes me just like totally elated. And I know we make the jokes like, one more or whatever, but I always say anytime a doctor says no or man says no, God is gonna always come back and say yes.
Amen. Amen. Because boy, we live in proof at this point that, like you said, those two doctors told me I'd never have kids on my own. One told me that they were going to help me. The other one just said, "Well, you'll have them eventually, but we won't know when. But you still told me I would never have them on my own, and look what happened."
Right. And I was going to say, just even hearing the situation of what, made it go down, it's like, as a friend, I know it's kind of weird, but you put on your cape and you hop in there, you like, what can I do?
Right. Right.
But yes, my sister, it's been a journey, but I wouldn't choose nobody else to walk this journey with. Um, and it's simply because I feel like God gave you this so that you can tell your story. I feel like you're bold enough, you're courageous enough, and you're strong enough to tell your story, because there are a lot of women who are quiet about what they go through, because as women we feel like that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to, you know, reproduce and become moms, become wives, or whatever the case may be, or whatever society has deemed for us. But, you know, you got yours.
Yeah. And like you said, there's so many of us who, especially a lot of us African American women, who suffer through this a lot of times in silence with other issues and not being heard, our not having our health care taken seriously, or they always tell us to be strong, but in some cases that's not it.
Right.
We are meant to be, again, we are meant to be childbearing. We are meant to, reproduce, and we're meant to be vulnerable at times. And sometimes once we get that force field, like we get put into this category, or we get put into this fraternity or sorority that we did not want to get put in.
Speak on that.
Yeah, we get put into this category, into this bubble, and we just lay down and accept it instead of speaking up for ourselves and voicing how we feel, because we don't want to seem like we're being weak or being just
Nagging.
that nagging, walked on, any of the adjectives at that point that just make it feel like that we're just supposed to lay down and just accept life for what it is and not fight for what we want or fight for what we need. So, but I just want to say thank you for having this conversation with me today. Again, I appreciate you being a confidant, being a friend, a supporter, auntie to my babies, and just overall, just being a rock that I needed in my life. So I appreciate you. And I'm going to end this episode here with you. So this is another episode of Journey for Infertility, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.